Most of us want to believe people care about us. That's human. We're wired for connection. It goes back to our old caveman days and living in tribes and stuff. But sometimes that need can make us hold on too tightly to people and relationships that aren't really good for us. The reality is that some people may not be able to show care in the way we want, need, or desire. When that happens, it's easy to slip into feeling like we have to earn basic care and respect. As the line in a Neil Young song puts it, it doesn't mean that much to me to mean that much to you. You should not have to work for someone to treat you with kindness and respect. So, how can you tell when somebody truly doesn't care? Often it isn't a huge betrayal or dramatic goodbye. More often it shows up in small, repeated moments. And you can notice it simply by paying attention. In a world where everything gets reduced to likes, comments, and quick interactions, it's easy to confuse attention with care. But attention isn't the same as connection. Real connection, the kind that helps you feel safe, seen, and valued, grows when there's a mutual care and mutual respect. Mutual is the key word here, because a healthy relationship is never one-sided. It can't be one person always giving while the other person mostly takes. It can't be one person constantly bending over backwards while the other person stays the same and simply expects it. A strong relationship has a back and forth rhythm. Both people show an effort, interest, and a genuine willingness to understand each other. Mutual care often looks like showing up even when it isn't convenient. It's remembering the small stuff, how you like your coffee, that big interview you're nervous about, or the subtle change in your voice when you're not okay, but you don't know how to say it yet. And it's not just being around for the fun moments. It's also being present when things are messy, uncomfortable, or hard. Then there's respect, the backbone of any solid relationship. Respect isn't only about being polite. It's honoring someone's boundaries, feelings, and individuality. It's listening to understand, not just listening so you can respond. It's making room for someone's truth, even when it could be different from yours. When care and respect show up together, a relationship tends to feel balanced and secure. Care without respect can start to feel controlling or suffocating. Respect without care can feel distant, like you matter only when it's convenient. But with both, you create the kind of connection, romantic, friendship, family, or whatever it is, that can truly feel steady and supportive. If you've ever felt like you were the only one trying, you already know how draining that can be. Over time, it can wear you down and make you question yourself. But you shouldn't have to chase care, and you shouldn't have to convince someone to respect you. The relationships that are often right for you won't make you feel like you're asking for too much when you're really asking for basic reciprocity. We spend so much time overthinking what people say, replaying conversations, rereading texts, trying to decode mixed messages, but often the clearest information is in what they don't say and what they don't do. When someone cares, you usually feel it in the way they check on you, try to understand you, and remember the little things. Care is active. It reaches for you. Indifference can feel passive, less effort, and less acknowledgement, and a quiet, I can take you or leave you energy. It's devastating. Silence can be an answer. Little or no effort can be an answer. Ongoing apathy can be an answer. And it helps to be honest with yourself instead of rationalizing it away. Telling yourself that just because someone isn't outright mean, they must care in their own way. Yes, people get busy. Yes, some people struggle to express emotions. But caring may not require constant words, but it does require some level of presence and follow-through. If someone values you, they won't keep you stuck in doubt or make you feel like you're always the one carrying a connection. Indifference might look like a friend who rarely asks how you're doing, even when they know you're struggling. It could be a partner who seems more engaged with their phone than with time together. It could be a family member who reaches out mainly when they need something. It could be a coworker who brushes past your ideas like they don't matter. It isn't always dramatic, but over time it can chip away at your self-worth and leave you feeling like you're asking for too much when you're really asking for the bare minimum. And that's sad. Okay, here I'm going to list the 8 behaviors that signal someone may not truly care. Okay? If you're trying to make sense of someone's mixed signals, it can help to look for patterns that show up over time. Not every behavior is intentionally harmful, and context matters. Other people have bad days too. But these are common warning signs that the relationship may be lacking the mutual care and respect you deserve. First up, behavior number 1, lack of empathy. They minimize your feelings, then rush you to get over it or make your pain feel inconvenient. Here's a helpful check-in. Do you feel emotionally safer after sharing or more alone? That's a good question. Okay, behavior number 2, constant disrespect. This goes back to middle school type of behavior. Okay, it shows up as sarcasm that cuts, dismissive comments, boundary pushing, or talking down to you, especially when they're upset. Remember, respect shouldn't depend on their mood. Okay, now on to behavior number 3, never showing up. They're absent when it counts, important moments, hard seasons, or even basic follow-through. Look for things like reliability, not occasional grand gestures. Okay, number 4 now. Gaslighting your reality. They deny what happened, they twist your words, or make you feel too sensitive for reacting to real hurt. Your feelings are genuine, okay? Anchor yourself. Confusion is often a sign something isn't being handled honestly. Okay, behavior number 5, conditional kindness. They're warm when you're doing what they want, but cold, possibly punishing or withholding when you set a boundary or disagree. Healthy love doesn't require you to earn basic kindness. Okay, on to behavior number 6, avoiding accountability. They deflect, blame shift, or play the victim, or apologize without change. Watch for things like repaired behavior, not repeated explanations. This is a simple one. We're up to the number 7 behavior now. Competitive energy instead of support. They downplay your wins, keep score, compare, or seem threatened when you grow. These people are not your friends. You deserve people who celebrate you, not people who compete with you. They're supposed to be your friend. On to number 8. Behavior number 8 is emotionally unavailable. They avoid vulnerability. They shut down hard conversations or keep you at arm's length while still expecting access to you. The key question, are they capable of consistent emotional presence? It's a good question. Think about that. Here's the thing. You don't have to diagnose anyone to protect yourself. If several of these behaviors are present, and especially if they keep repeating, take that information seriously. Let patterns guide you more than promises, and let your boundaries be the place where clarity begins. And this is an important reminder. If someone's indifference is making you question your value, it isn't your value that's in question. It's their ability or willingness to show up for it. You do not have to keep chasing people who show you through an action that you are not a priority. You do not have to keep making excuses for people who do not make room for you. You don't have to justify their behavior. How they make you feel is what's important. So pay attention to the energy, the effort, and the presence, or the lack of it. Sometimes the clearest message isn't what they say. It's what happens when you stop trying and they don't even notice. We have all heard, actions speak louder than words, but it's bigger than one single action. It's the pattern of the actions. Anybody can make a promise, anybody can say the right thing at the right time. But when behavior does not match the words, it's hard to build trust. Patterns take time, and they tell the whole story, the real story. What somebody prioritizes, what they excuse, and how consistent they're willing to be. If someone regularly cancels at the last minute, you may be dealing with the lack of reliability. If a friend only reaches out when they need something, they're users. The relationship may not be as balanced as you deserve. If a partner keeps apologizing for hurting you, but repeats the same behavior, the apology is not being backed by change. One kind moment does not automatically make someone feel good. And one difficult moment does not automatically make someone terrible. But repeated behavior over time will always give you clearer information than a single moment ever could. Promises can sound good. We live on hope. And that's what promises give you. They can also fill the gap between who someone is right now and who you wish they could be. But a promise without follow-through eventually becomes noise. If you keep hearing, "I'll do better," but nothing changes, that's a sign to focus on the trend, not the explanation. And if you're getting promises like that, you got to question a relationship anyway. We sometimes ignore patterns because facing them means facing reality. And reality can hurt. We tell ourselves, they did not mean it, they will change, I just have to be patient. But potential isn't the same as a pattern. You don't have to decode people or overanalyze every detail. When someone shows you who they are through consistent behavior, it's okay to believe what you're seeing and to make choices that protect your peace and the way you feel. If you have to keep hoping for a different outcome, it may be because you're discounting what keeps happening. You're ignoring what you're seeing. You're ignoring the signs. And if you're discounting the pattern, you're choosing the promise over truth. So instead of getting stuck on what people say, try watching what they do consistently. Patterns don't lie, and they can help you choose more wisely. We currently live in a world that makes it really easy to believe our worth comes from outside of us, from attention, love, and validation. So, when someone chooses us, we feel valuable. When they ignore us, we feel small. When something ends, we can start thinking we weren't enough. But your worth was never meant to be decided on by other people. A lot of us were taught early that approval equals value. Be good, get praise, get good grades, get recognized, get chosen, feel special. Over time, we may start believing that we have to prove ourselves, be lovable enough, helpful enough, successful enough, so people will stay. But when you hand other people the power to decide your worth, you end up riding their behavior like a roller coaster. Here's the truth. You determine your own self-worth. It's yours. It exists whether someone recognizes it or not. Someone not seeing your value doesn't mean you don't have value. Someone not loving you well does not mean you're unlovable. People's opinions are shaped by their own limits, experience, and emotional capacity, and sometimes their inability to value you has everything to do with them and not you. If you catch yourself doing these things, you might be letting the outside validation run the show. Feeling unworthy when someone ignores you or doesn't reciprocate? Changing yourself to fit what you think other people want? Staying in an unhealthy relationship because you're afraid to be alone? Needing constant reassurances to feel okay? Measuring your worth by how many friends, followers, or admirers you have is nuts. None of that makes you weak. It makes you human. Reclaiming your self-worth starts with taking it back from other people. Remind yourself your value does not rise and fall based on how someone treats you. You can stop chasing people who do not see you. Start validating yourself first. Notice your growth, your wins, your strength, without needing someone else to stamp you enough. And when possible, keep people close to reflect your value instead of constantly making you question it. At the end of the day, self-worth isn't something you asked for. It's something you claim. It doesn't increase when someone loves you, and it doesn't disappear when someone doesn't love you. No friend, partner, boss, or family member gets to define what was never theirs to decide. A lot of us are raised to think boundaries are selfish, that saying no is rude, that putting yourself first is too much, that making people uncomfortable with your limits is something you should feel guilty about. But boundaries aren't selfish, they're your self-respect. Boundaries are not walls to shut people out, and they're not weapons to control anyone. They're simply guidelines for how you allow yourself to be treated. It's your dignity at stake here. They protect your time, your energy, your peace, and your sense of self. Boundaries are you saying, this is what I need to feel safe and respected. This is what I will and won't accept. Okay? When we don't have boundaries, we often overextend. We say yes when we mean no. We tolerate things that we should not because we hate conflict or do not want to disappoint anyone. But if a relationship falls apart the moment you express your needs, that's valuable information about how safe that relationship really is. People who respect you will work with your boundaries, and sometimes the people who benefit from you having none are the ones who react the strongest when you finally set them. Healthy boundaries are not about control. They're about clarity. Okay? For example, you're not responsible for managing someone else's emotions at the expense of your own emotions. Your time is valuable, so you don't overcommit just to keep people happy. You don't stay in disrespectful conversations. You don't make yourself available 24/7 for work. And in relationships, you don't ignore dishonesty, neglect, or repeated disrespect. If you feel guilty setting boundaries, it can help to ask yourself why someone else's comfort is coming before your well-being. You're not responsible for managing how people feel about your limits. Your job is to honor yourself. And anyone who genuinely cares about you would rather have you feeling safe and respected than drained and resentful. And remember this, sometimes honoring yourself means letting go. We can hold on to people who drain us because it's familiar, because we invested time, because we keep hoping things will go back to how they were. But it's hard to build a peaceful, healthy life when you keep making space for people who repeatedly hurt, dismiss you, or hold you back. Every bit of energy you spend chasing someone who won't meet you halfway is energy you could be given to people and goals who truly support you. Letting go doesn't mean you never cared. It doesn't erase the memories or the good moments. It simply means choosing yourself, your peace, your growth, your future, over a connection that isn't serving you anymore. It's time to move on. You can love someone and still know they're not meant to stay close. You can forgive and still walk away. The best part of letting go can make room for the right people, the ones who don't make you beg for basic effort, the ones who respect your boundaries, the ones who check on you and show up consistently. When you stop settling, you stop living in survival mode in your relationships. You feel lighter. You stop shrinking yourself to fit spaces you've outgrown. Okay, so here's the bottom line of the whole thing. Real connection is built on mutual care and respect. I'm going to say that again. Real connection is built on mutual care and respect. When you notice patterns like lack of empathy, ongoing disrespect, repeated no-shows, gaslighting, conditional kindness, avoiding accountability, competitive energy, or emotional unavailability, don't talk yourself out about what you're seeing. You're not too much for wanting consistency. You're simply asking for a healthy relationship. Your worth is still yours, no matter how anyone else behaves. Set boundaries without guilt, and don't be afraid to release the wrong people, because that's how you make space for the right ones. You deserve relationships that make you feel safe and steady, not something you have to fight to keep. Have a great day.